Welcome to the introduction to Pop Out Stacks Base Dies. This is a four-piece set that's going to allow you to create an interactive card or a pop-up card. So this is going to stand nicely on your tabletop, but it also flattens nicely to fit into an envelope without a lot of bulk. Now, here are the look at the pieces that you would die cut out. So I started with that half circle piece. Your base piece is going to be from powder cardstock. And then the three other pieces, these rectangles, I did out of pebble cardstock. Of course, you can pick whatever color cardstock fits your card project. Now, when you die cut these out, the die does provide score lines. And what that is two tabs on the end and a score line in the center. So each of those rectangle pieces will have that. I didn't show the smaller piece, but that one does also have the scored lines as well. And then we also have a center scored line on our base piece, and that's going to be our sky, our background that everything attaches to. Now, if you want to, you can take this over to your scoreboard and reinforce those score lines, but that's just kind of a guide for me. I'm going to fold that in half. And then for each of the score lines, I'm going to reinforce that fold with my bone folder. I really want to make these a nice, crisp crease. So for that base piece, we are folding it in. So you can see how I'm opening it like a book. Then we're going to take the other three rectangle pieces. You can see there's three different sizes to them. And you're going to want to fold over the flaps on each end and then also that score line in the center. So you will do this for all three of those rectangle pieces. Now, in your decorating, you are going to want to decorate these strips before you add them to your base. If you have anything that's going to go over that center scored line, what I would suggest is taking your rectangle piece, placing it on a scoreboard, lining it up with one of the scored lines, and then whatever piece is going to be kind of overlapping where the scored line is, just go ahead and add your own score line to whatever image you have over that area. And I'll show you some examples at the end. But here I have all three of these pieces. I have all of my folds kind of creased and ready to go. Now I have these in the order in which I am going to attach them. So you're going to take your base piece and you're also going to need a really strong adhesive. Now in this case, I'm going to be using liquid glue. And how you're going to line it up is the center score line on your rectangle piece is going to line up with the center score line on your base. And you'll see this throughout the video too. I'm going to add liquid glue to the back of those flaps. If I got too much liquid glue on it, I would just kind of rub my finger over it because I don't want it to seep out on the edges. So once I have my liquid glue on there, I'm going to line up that center score line with the center score line on my base. My flaps are tucked in, so they're folded in, and I'm going to hold that down or place something heavy over the top. And you really want to make sure that this is adhered down before you start bending and really moving this. Now, this is the second rectangle piece. Again, we have those flaps folded in, added the liquid glue, line up our center score lines, and each one of these is also going to be flush with the bottom of your base. So you don't have to worry about if things are off at all. You just line it up with the center score line and the bottom of your base. Now, here I'm working on a glass mat and this was getting pretty slippery. So I took some post-it tape and I'm just holding my base down with the post-it tape so I could add that last layer. So this is the longest one. It stretches all the way across the front. You can see how it is tiered, so it gets smaller as it goes in the back. Again, each time I would recommend placing something heavy on it until your glue is nice and tacky and it has a good firm grip. Now, here is a completed pop up card. This is using the Secret Garden. Now, what I'm pointing out is I used pebble cardstock as that base piece in the back, and then I added the pebble stone so it looks like a little walkway to it with a darker shade of cardstock. And then I have everything layered. You always want to add your layered pieces or your die cut images to the rectangle before you attach this to your card. It's going to be really hard and tricky otherwise. And then that is the carnival version. So that one was the boardwalk stacks pop out. And what I'm pointing out there is another strip here. So this is included in the boardwalk stacks die set. And what this is this is your beach. So this one actually has a couple scored lines on the edge. You'll fold both of those in, and that's going to be an additional pop out on the front of your card. Totally optional. It does not have a score line in the center. So you are going to want to create a score line on there so it folds nicely. And you can use that by matching up the score line of your base with this particular die and using a scoring board. And this is going to, you can see, fold up. It creates that little bit of a ledge there. So it pops out a little bit more. But again, it does not add a ton of bulk. And these fold up nice, they fit in an envelope and it just adds a little bit more to your card project. If you don't want it to have it be a pop out, you could just trim off those ends and add it straight to that base piece or your last tier that you added. I should say, if you don't want your beach to pop out. So the Boardwalk and the Secret Garden set available in the July release is designed to work with the pop-out stacks, but dig through your stash and see what other scenes you could build with the pop-out stacks. That is your closer look and introduction to Pop Out Stacks base die available at Concord and Ninth. Thanks for watching.